June 14, 1952. Le Mans, France. 57 cars started, 17 finished. Third overall, an American car. Not a Corvette, not a Cunningham. An American car built on a handshake deal on an ocean liner, powered by a family sedan engine with a body fabricated in 2 weeks by one man working without drawings. It beat Ferraris. It beat Jaguars. It beat Briggs Cunningham's purpose-built racer. The only things ahead of it were 2 factory-entered Mercedes-Benz racing prototypes. The car that did this was called the Nash-Healey. You have probably never heard of it. That is not an accident. Ask anyone to name the first American sports car, and you will hear the same answer: the Corvette. 1953, Chevrolet. That story is tidy. It is also 2 years late. The 1953 Corvette debuted with a 150 horsepower straight-six and a 2-speed Power Glide automatic. 0 to 60 in 11 seconds. It was a styling exercise with borrowed mechanicals and a fiberglass body that most buyers found underwhelming. Chevrolet sold 300 units in its first year. Motor Trend called it a glamorous show car. Meanwhile, an American car had already been racing at Le Mans for 3 straight years. Nobody at General Motors wanted you to know that. December 1949. Donald Healey was sailing to America aboard the RMS Queen Elizabeth. Healey built sports cars out of a small factory in Warwick, England. He was heading to Detroit to negotiate with General Motors. He wanted Cadillac's new overhead valve V8 for a racing project. GM turned him down, citing defense commitments. On board the ship, Healey noticed a man using an unusual stereo camera. They got to talking. The man was George W. Mason, president of Nash-Kelvinator. Mason made Healey an offer. If GM said no, Nash was interested. GM said no. By the time the Queen Elizabeth reached port, Mason had agreed to finance a 2-seat sports car. Nash would supply the drivetrain from their Ambassador model. Healey would supply the chassis, the body, and the racing knowledge. As part of the deal, Nash paid off Healey's £50,000 bank debt. That is not a footnote. That is how the Nash-Healey actually started. The car that came out of that conversation was not supposed to be sophisticated. Nash's Ambassador 6-cylinder engine, 235 cubic inches. Healey fitted an aluminum cylinder head, dual SU carburetors, and a hotter camshaft. Result, 125 horsepower. Not a monster number. But this was 1950. Healey built the chassis and suspension by hand in Warwick. The prototype went to Le Mans in 1950 before a single production car existed. Tony Rolt and Duncan Hamilton drove it. 66 cars started. 29 finished. The Nash-Healey finished 4th overall. It beat Ferraris. It beat Aston Martins. It beat the Cunningham entry with its full Cadillac V8. 4th overall from a car built in a small English workshop powered by a Nash sedan engine. Nash saw what they had. They signed a production deal. The first production Nash-Healey debuted at the Chicago Auto Show in February 1951. 104 were built that year. The price? $4,063. That was more than a 1952 Cadillac convertible. Nash knew this was not a car for everyone. It was a car built to prove something. 1952, June 14th and 15th, Le Mans. Donald Healey's team had built a new car in 2 weeks. Roger Menadue, head of Healey's experimental department, fabricated the body in less than 7 days, working by eye without a single drawing. The car ran 4.1 liters of Nash inline 6, tuned to approximately 200 horsepower. Leslie Johnson and Tommy Wisdom drove it for 24 hours. The engine never needed oil. It never needed water. Not once in 24 hours. 57 cars started. 17 finished. The Nash-Healey finished 3rd overall, behind only the two factory Mercedes-Benz 300 SL race cars, which were the most advanced racing prototypes in the world at that moment. It also won the Rudge Whitworth Trophy for the best performance across 2 consecutive years. It won the Motor Gold Challenge Cup. The driver said it was more nimble through the corners than cars that cost 3 times as much. The early Corvette never finished third at Le Mans. The early Corvette never started at Le Mans. Nash knew what this result was worth. They named the road car's engine the Le Mans Dual Jetfire Ambassador 6. They put it in Humphrey Bogart films. They made it the course car for the 1951 Carrera Panamericana, one of the most dangerous road races ever run. For a brief moment, it looked like the Nash-Healey might actually stick. Here's the problem Nash had. General Motors had 18,000 dealers. Nash had around 3,000. GM had an advertising budget measured in the hundreds of millions. Nash spent what it could. When Chevrolet launched the Corvette in June of 1953, GM had the infrastructure to make America's sports car mean exactly one thing. They ran the phrase until it was fact. They owned the magazines, the ad pages, the dealerships. The Nash-Healey's Le Mans result was a footnote in a European racing supplement. Nash knew what was happening. Tom McCahill, one of the most respected road testers in America, had written that he had never driven a sports car that handled better or gave the driver so much control. It ran in a major national magazine. Nobody repeated it. The manufacturing arrangement did not help. Nash sent drivetrains to England. Healey built rolling chassis. Those chassis went to Italy, where Pininfarina built the steel bodies. The same Pininfarina doing Ferrari bodies at the time. Then the cars came back to America. The cost of shipping a car through 3 countries landed a price of over $5,000 on the window sticker. The early Corvette listed at $3,513. Nash could not close that gap. In 1954, Nash merged with Hudson to form American Motors Corporation. George Mason, the man who had made the deal on the Queen Elizabeth, died in October of that year at 63. His successor, George Romney, had no interest in sports cars. Romney's entire strategy for AMC was built around fuel-efficient, compact cars. His advertising slogan summed up the pivot. Why don't we enter high-performance cars and racing? Because the only race Rambler cares about is the human race. Production of the Nash-Healey ended in August of 1954. 507 were built across 4 years. A few leftover 1954 models were sold as 1955 cars to clear the lot. Healey pivoted to his new Austin Healey 100, backed by the British Motor Corporation. That car sold in the tens of thousands. The Nash-Healey, the one that had finished third at Le Mans with an engine that did not need oil for an entire day, was done. Today, a Nash-Healey in good condition brings $60,000 to $150,000 at auction. 507 of them exist. Nobody knows exactly how many survived. The car that beat Ferraris at Le Mans with a family sedan engine that finished on the podium 3 years before the Corvette existed is a car most American automotive enthusiasts have never seen in person. The Corvette got 18,000 dealers and a $100 million ad budget. The Nash-Healey got a footnote in a European racing supplement and a merger that killed the company. History is written by whoever has more dealers.